Welcome to another edition of the Glitter Boom Girls Show. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson in Buffalo, New York, and 3,000 miles away from me is Amy Asbury. Amy!
Hi, everybody!
So let's get right into it today because
Let's do it.
We cannot wait to talk about food. We're talking about food that's not available anymore, that we loved when we were kids. We're talking about food that is still available that maybe takes us back. And then any one of a manner of things about our beloved moms and what they made or refused to make. And then we might even throw in there some restaurants.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, Amy, you and I are probably going to have different restaurants, right? Because there's the East Coast, West Coast thing.
You're probably right.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
But so let's start with you, Aim.
Okay.
So give me a food that you loved when you know, back in the day that is not available anymore and you wish it was.
That is not available anymore. Okay, what did I love so much? The first thing I think of, you guys, my grandmother had these quote unquote diet bars called figurines. And they were like by Carnation, and it was like they were like wafers. Basically, they were just wafers with like chocolate in the middle, and they were supposed to help you keep your figure because they were apparently less calories because of the wafer. I don't know. Anyway, my poor grandmother, I would go into her pantry, eat the entire box of figurines, and my figure did not look good afterward.
Okay.
But that's my favorite.
Amy?
That crunch was real.
This is high tech. I'm playing this on my phone speaker.
Now a dieter can have an occasional sweet. If the sweet is
Oh my
figurines,
gosh.
the diet sweet, just 138 calories a bar.
Ooh, I was close.
Okay, there was another ad for figurines, though.
I've never heard an ad for figurines.
Get out. No.
I seriously had only seen them in my grandmother's pantry. Wait, so what was the other ad?
No, the other one, I'm going to see if I can find it here. She goes, I love how I look in my gabardine, so I fight for my figure with figurines. I think
fight
this is
for
it.
my figure. Okay. Oh my.
Crunch, 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 crunch. They're the most unquiet kind of diet lunch. Figurines brand diet meals from Pillsbury. When everyone is munching, you can crunch along. My shape belongs to figurines.
Wow.
Yeah, okay, so that's not it either.
You know what? That sounded very like Music Man, or like sound like a musical with like Shirley Jones in it or something.
Now it's a quest. Now it's a total quest. Now I got to find this because I remember figurines too. My mom had those. And did your mom have the diet candies called AIDS? AYDS?
Ew, no. But I remember other people's moms did.
Yeah, my mom had them. They were like caramels, which of course I love. So she would put them on the top shelf of the. You know how there's like the little cupboard next, like on the side of the stove. You know, you'd have your main cupboards with dishes. Then you'd have your other main cupboards with like cereal and stuff. And then there was that weird cupboard that you'd shove like pen cup holders in and stuff. Yeah. And so she kept them on the top shelf of that and thought that would keep me from getting the AIDS candies. And she tried to scare me too, like, oh no, these are for grown-ups, and you know you're gonna get sick.
They're for my reducing plan. they were reducing plan candy.
Exactly, reducing
plan.
But of course, I figured out in about 2 seconds that all I had to do was climb on the counter, and then just open the cupboard, and then I would get into the AIDS. So I was eating the AIDS candies all the time, and they were good. They tasted a little bit strange. Like they tasted like caramels. I don't even know what was in them. We should probably figure out what was in them, but
And you know, it's so funny that what destroyed the name of them was AIDS, the disease,
Right. Yeah, of
which is
course.
like so sad. But yeah, and we're like AIDS, AIDS, AIDS.
Yeah, because I think they were
I
still around, right, in the early 80s when
think
HIV
so.
and acquired immune deficiency syndrome became like a thing. But yeah,
Yeah.
I remember her having those candies and, of course, the figurines. Now, okay, this is the last one. I'm going to see if this
All
is
right,
that
do I
commercial.
got to hear this.
Okay, because damn. All right.
Cause damn.
Yeah. Oh my God. I wish this was video because like the pictures of the women and how happy
Oh,
they are
gee.
eating these wafers. Figurines, a diet food. They're so gross. Oh, wait. Oh, darn.
So while you look for that, I will say that and something else that I ate all the time, and I'm not going to say this is one of my favorite things because I don't know that I really liked it, but it was always there, was a cereal called buckwheats. B-U-C wheats.
Be-
That I must have eaten
Buckwheats.
more of that than anything in my life.
And
So if any of you,
what are we talking? Like, are we talking like shredded wheat type thing or flakes or
you know
what?
what? They were called crisp, crunchy flakes. They were by General Mills, and it was like frosted. It was not frosted. It was some kind of wholesome, like a cornflake, but it was like a wheat flake,
So
and it was just hateful.
did you put sugar in it?
No, and you want to know why it was so hateful?
Why?
Because the box had no good colors, like all the good color, the
No
fun boxes. It was like
cartoons.
it was like beige or orange.
So it was like adult. It was like NPR cereal, like adult
Right. It was
cereal.
such a buzzkill. It was like the biggest buzzkill of my life, and I ate it all the time.
Yeah, I had friends who had cereal like that. Like
That
my
was me, yeah.
house, my mom. Mom, I love you. I have a wonderful mom, but I can't imagine being my mother.
Well,
But
your mom bought you Koogle.
oh, Koogle.
She
Okay,
bought you because there was cinnamon peanut spread Koogle and there was chocolate peanut spread Koogle.
now
And your mother actually bought you
the
that.
banana Koogle. Okay, Koogle, Koogle, was this flavored peanut butter. Now, before you say, "Oh no, they have the jelly and the peanut," no, that's not what
So
I'm
that was
talking about.
Goober. That was like
Yeah,
Goober or
no,
something.
no.
No, this is
It's
different
not
because this
goober.
one, now Koogle, like the two O's appeared to be two googly eyes looking at
Exactly.
you.
And in fact, when
Okay.
I was little, I called it Google Eye peanut butter. So,
That's
I'd
adorable.
be in the grocery store with mom and I was like, "Mom, I'm on a Google Eye." No lie, I think I went through 2 jars a week and I would just sit there with a friggin' spoon. The banana flavored peanut butter was so good. And it was no banana chunks it looked like regular peanut butter. It had the consistency of regular peanut butter. And who knows what kind of like carcinogenic, space age banana flavored chemical made it taste like banana. But man, I love that stuff. I would just spread it flat out on a piece of Wonder Bread and,
They
go to
called
town.
it snack spread. I don't think they could call it anything more healthy.
Snack
And it was
spread.
so it was introduced by Kraft in 1971. There were 4 flavors. There was chocolate, there was banana, cinnamon, and vanilla. And everybody said that it did not stick to the roof of your mouth.
I don't remember the a roof of the mouth issue either way. I don't remember going, "Wow, this doesn't stick," or "Gee, it does." But I do remember that when I ate one piece of bread with banana Kugel eye peanut butter,
Yeah.
I had to have another and another and another and another, and then I would eat like a spoonful, and I would get extra on the nut. Like I just couldn't get enough of this peanut butter. I loved it, and I was such a sugar addict, that I somehow, even though my poor mother tried to feed me like non-sugar, like your PBS cereal, I
Ugh.
just tried to avoid like eating non-sugar as much as possible. So she'd buy like Raisin Bran,
Ooh.
right? I know. It gets soggy and everything, and today I can't eat wheat anymore, but as an adult, I like Raisin Bran. But when I was a little kid, I would just take the sugar bowl, forget a spoon. I would just pour like an inch layer of sugar on top of the Raisin Bran. And then I was like, okay, now I'll eat it. And she would buy Life cereal, Cheerios, just dumped sugar all over it. And finally, she just gave up because it wasn't working. So then I got my Boo Berry, I got my Fruity Pebbles, I got my Frankenberry. Oh, I loved Frankenberry. Frankenberry was great.
So you know what I've got to say, because I was always such a big fan of packaging.
Yes.
And that buckwheat packaging, I was like, what is this? Like Victor French and Charles Landon, like Little House on the Prairie ass bowl of twigs I'm eating. You know, it was so like,
it was like Nutty Granola.
It was boring.
Packaging.
But when I saw that packaging for, it was horrible. Does a bear shit in the woods? Yes, it does, in this bowl of my cereal. You know, the packaging to that Koogle had the little eyebrows on the O's, you know, the packaging to Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles with the font were like big blocks of rock.
Right.
And there was a magenta background. Yeah, it was Flintstones. And I really enjoyed the pink Frankenstein and the blue ghost. The packaging was so lovely.
Right.
And it was so silly. And I think the late 60s had the best. The 70s got a little, I don't know, more oranges and browns and golds, but the packaging did it all.
Yeah, and you could tell what cereal was squarely aimed at children, which
certainly,
I mean, what a bullseye. Like, let's put tons of sugar in it and make it colored like a rainbow. So, speaking of rainbows, did you ever have Kaboom?
No,
Kaboom cereal?
Kaboom.
It had a big clown on the cover.
No, I was not lucky enough. But it sounds familiar. Tell me, what did the box look like?
Well, it's Kaboom, Kaboom. And
so there was a clown?
Yeah, it was like a circus theme cereal.
Oh, it was a yellow box with like red writing?
That sounds right. But it was the cereal was all multicolored, and I'm sure, again, full of some, you know, poisonous dyes or whatever. But if you ate too much Kaboom, I want to be delicate here.
Ooh.
You know,
there were issues?
Yeah.
There were major issues?
There were issues because, you're a little kid. And, of course, you don't eat one bowl of cereal when you're a little kid, right? You eat like 5 because you have the milk over here and the cereal over here. And you just keep pouring because the ratios change. Too much milk, more cereal. More cereal, too much milk. And you're watching cartoons and, you know. So if you ate like 5 bowls of Kaboom, let me just say
okay,
that you would be surprised at certain emissions that were supposed to be natural colors.
Like it's supposed to be 70s color and they were 60s color.
Yeah, like it was supposed to be the color of wood, you know, a tree. And then instead it was the color of like phosphorescent green.
Oh my goodness.
Kaboom was like famous for the phosphorescent green effects that it had on people.
And you know what? Speaking of little prizes as such, I used to dig my dirty hand down to the bottom of that cereal box to get that little prize. Dig my dirty hand in there, pull it out, and then I couldn't close the box afterward.
Oh, because you bent it.
I bent it, and since I dug into the bag, it was suddenly the bag ballooned out at the bottom.
Yeah.
And the box was no longer thin. It was this big wide-bottomed box, and I couldn't close it. And I would always rip the little fastener envelope thing where you shut the box on the top.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I would always rip that thing right off.
Yeah.
Accidentally, of course, like completely. I destroyed the box.
Yep.
Day one.
Yeah, and if you didn't put your cereal away in a certain way, the parallel or not parallel, the 90-degree angles, right, of the box, and then the parallel front and back would get off, so it was like a rhombus instead of a rectangle, and the whole box would just, like, the integrity of the box would just collapse. And then
it would collapse.
Yeah, and then you'd try to put it away, and you'd have all these bent up, like, non-aligned, you know, cereal. And then some of them were in different shapes. Like, There was the big, huge box of Cheerios. It was like family size. And then the Fruity Pebbles came in a smaller box. So that was kind of an odd shape.
Still like that, by the way.
Oh, is it?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I haven't had Fruity Pebbles. I'm not joking. Probably 30 years. I think.
Every year on my birthday, I get Fruity Pebbles, Cocoa Pebbles, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Crunch Berries, Cap'n Crunch, and
Toast Crunch.
And I get a bunch of trashy magazines, and I watch Bravo and eat all those cereals. So I've seen them. But do you want to know my very, very favorite?
That's a dream day, by the way.
It is
like
a dream
you just
day. My
described
very
my
favorite was always the Cap'n Crunch characters. The Crunch Berry monster or whatever he was. Cap'n Crunch. And I feel like it was the guy who did Rocky and Bullwinkle.
Think that was the monster's voice? Was that the Crunchberry?
No,
the Crunchberry beast. That was the Crunchberry
person.
beast.
Yes, the person who drew the artwork on those boxes.
Oh.
Gotta be.
Yeah, why don't you look that up? Because
guy.
I got to tell you something about Cap'n Crunch. So that's a General Mills cereal, right?
I believe so.
Okay, let me look that up.
It was Jay Ward.
Before I shoot my mouth off. So wait, you're telling me that you recognized on the Cap'n Crunch cereal box that Cap'n Crunch was the same illustrator as what
Rocky and
Bullwinkle?
It was the same feet and the same hands, and I looked it up as an adult, and lo and behold, it was Jay Ward.
You are amazing.
You guys can look it up.
You are amazing.
It was just so weird. And even when I watched Tom and Jerry, and this is off the subject, you know, certain when it gets to like 1967, you know, Tom has really big eyebrows suddenly.
Yeah.
And they look different.
Right. They try to style the.
But you see icon. That there's a lot more guns and knives during that big eyebrow time. So you could I've always paid very close attention to illustration in packaging, the cereals packaging, and of course cartoons. But cereal boxes are some of my favorite artwork to this day. I wish I could just frame cereal box art. I love it. Now, what were you going to tell me? What are you looking up?
I was going to address the, speaking of Koogle and the roof of your mouth, when you eat a bowl or 10 bowls of Cap'n Crunch or Cap'n Crunch Crunch Berries, you get that, it like scraped up the roof of your mouth. And
it did. It destroys it. Still does.
Yeah. But damn, was it good? Like I could polish off a box of Cap'n Crunch for sure. It was so sweet.
I had a theory on Crunch Berries that I came up with when I was a little older, when I was in my 20s. It's called the Crunch Berry theory, and that goes as such. This goes as such. Crunch Berries are so special because you only got one per spoonful. You're like, oh, I want to get a Crunch Berry on my spoon. Oh, you're digging around. When you run out of Crunch Berries, the bowl of yellow little squares isn't as fun, right?
Yeah, they got soggy real quick.
But then when they came out with all Crunch Berries, you were like, oh, well, I kind of miss the yellow squares. And that's the same thing as having Christmas every day of the year. It's, what would be the word? Saturation?
Yeah, it's like...
Market saturation? Is that really what it was that I thought I coined?
Yeah, and it becomes like, it's like too much of a good thing, right? Like, didn't they for a while make a box of just Crunch Berries? Wasn't that a thing?
That's what I'm saying.
Or did I
dream it was all Crunch Berries. That's what I'm saying. It was all Crunch Berries, so that just killed it.
Oh, the whole box. Yeah. Okay, so we're thinking of the same thing. Yeah. That you're right. That's
so as soon as it's all Crunch Berries, you're like, oh, well, now it's not so special.
Yeah, totally. Because
and then you miss the yellow squares.
Yeah. I think what would be interesting if anyone at I think is it Quaker Oats that does Cap'n Crunch? I don't think it's General Mills. If they made one where they shifted the ratio, instead of making it all Crunch Berries, they swapped the ratio of the yellow kernels and the Crunch Berries, right? So
you're genius.
Yeah. So then you get like a little more of a good thing, but not. Hey, you know what? We got to take a break, Aim. We have been so into this cereal
What?
talk. I know, it's break time.
I'm gonna eat some cereal. Okay,
Yeah.
let's go to break.
Okay, we'll be right back after this very short message. This podcast brought to you by Taking Liberty, a novel by Robbie-Ann McPherson. 30-something Maggie can't find the courage to leave her cruel boyfriend or her miserable life in Montana. Fate intervenes, and with the help of 3 strangers, Maggie finally escapes. But her new start leads her right back to the childhood home and the old mistakes she never thought she'd have to face again. Taking Liberty, available on Kindle and on paperback on Amazon.com and Barnes & Noble. Okay, we're the Glitter Boom Girls. We're back. We're talking about old cereal and stuff that, you know, we're talking about foods that you can't get anymore that we remember when we were a little kid. I remember a lot of candy bars that, because like all I ate was candy, and I remember the Charleston Chew bars, but I somebody said you can still get those. Can you still get a Charleston Chew?
Of course. I'm gonna send you one.
I have not seen a Charleston Chew in 100 years.
Oh, yeah. You know what? We have a lot of vintage candy stores in LA.
Oh.
Tons of them.
But somebody's making them.
I see a lot of retro candy.
Yeah, like somebody's still, you know, putting them out, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and I remember, do you remember those little chunky candy bars? It was like a little square.
I loved those.
Yeah, like this
I loved them just because they were a square.
Yeah, and it was like a thick, squat little piece of chocolate, but it had nuts and raisins. You know, it was...
You know what? Put a raisin in a candy and I will become your enemy.
Oh, really? You're not a raisin fan?
So no, I am, but you've got to give me full disclosure. If I'm biting into a cookie and I think it's chocolate chip and I bite a raisin,
right? Yeah, surprise raisins.
I will storm out.
Right,
How
you
dare
can't have surprise raisins. You shouldn't put surprise raisins in anything. It's like surprise onions. You know, it's just.
And you know what? It's like surprise onions, exactly. And when your mother finally gives you a granola bar, you think you're biting into chocolate chips. We're so excited, and then you bite into a raisin. It's like, oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
That's some sneaky, nutty granola shit right there. My mom tried it. Yeah, my mom tried to do all that stuff too. Like, you know, oh, it's a candy bar, you know, and it's like this crumbly, dry oatmeal thing it's like a piece of plaster held, you know, like it's all powdery when you bite into it, and half of it breaks. It's
Nature Valley. I was like,
part. Oh. Yeah. I don't know. I wasn't all into that stuff. Like I wanted straight up candy, like the hard stuff, you know, Reese's peanut butter cups, those little lollipops. Remember those lollipops with the little loop of string? So it, like instead of a lollipop stick, it was like a little string loop.
You put it around your finger.
Yeah.
Yes,
those were great. Yeah, and you know, the piece of paper with all the dots on it, the candy dots. Yeah. I don't understand that. Like
I feel like a crackhead with that because I try to just run them right over my teeth and just get them all off at once. I had no patience to try and pick off a tiny dot of anything.
Yeah, and there was really no way to get the candy off without eating some paper.
Right.
Like you always got, you know, you're like, because you always got some paper. Sometimes I would have like a session where I would pick off all the little things and get like a pile of the candies and then put them all in my mouth.
That says a lot about your personality that you would go through that whole thing.
Really?
To do it that way.
What do you think that's?
You know what that says? That you could delay gratification. You know, you could sit there and pick them all off so that later you would have a nice little pile.
Yeah, okay.
I was psycho and trying to run the whole thing over my mouth. I couldn't even suck on a popsicle or a lollipop. I had to like chew it right away.
So you were like the owl. Like, how many licks does it take?
I was out of control.
1.
Yes.
A 2. A 3.
Exactly. And this is not something that's been discontinued, but there's now different versions of it. But spray cheese that you sprayed kind of like whipped cream, I would make such a tall tower on my Ritz cracker watching different strokes. It would be like this, and it'd be hollow in the middle, so there was nothing substantial.
Like
and it
a custard swirl? Over. You know, like
the spray cheese, you know, you held a little kind of like whipped cream.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
but
so
you swirl it, right?
I started making a circle on the outside of the Ritz.
Yeah.
And then it would just I would do a layer on top of it, and I would keep going and keep going. And literally the can would run out and it would be air. And I'm like, oh, my mom's going to kill me.
So
She's
it was
still unloading groceries. And then it would be like so tall. It'd be 4 inches tall in my Ritz. And I was like having to dip other Ritz into it. It was just on my TV tray. It was just out of control.
It was like a tube of Ritz on top of the Ritz cracker, or a tube of cheese on top of the Ritz cracker.
And back then it was called Snack Mate. Cheddar, processed, pasteurized processed cheese spread.
Is there an ingredient? We need to know what was in that. What are the ingredients in that stuff?
Straight chemicals,
right? Like
just
cheesy
oil,
moxie, phosphoride, or like every ingredient is some kind of oride, oxide,
it was just oil,
phospho,
and it
something.
was just orange. It was orange oil with a lot of salt.
Oh, yeah.
And you couldn't do it on white crackers. You couldn't do it on saltines. It had to be on Ritz at my house.
Now, with the saltines at my house, in my defense, I was like 5, okay? But I would hide under the dining room table with those square packages, right? The little wax paper thing full of saltines, right?
A sleeve. They're called a sleeve.
Yes, a
sleeve.
Go on. A saltine sleeve. I would sit under the table with a saltine sleeve. Like, here I am cross-legged, right? Just picture this kid.
How cute.
With terrible bangs that my mom cut with nail scissors. And like my top doesn't match my pants. And I'm sitting under the table with a sleeve of saltines, the sugar bowl, like I'm cross-legged and the sugar bowl is like right, in my lap. And then I have
more sugar?
I would take a spoon and put a spoonful of sugar on a saltine and then eat it. Put a spoonful of sugar.
Rob, well, you probably got through watching Mary Poppins and you thought, well, she said a spoonful of sugar.
I any chance I get to put sugar on stuff. And then of course Mom, she'd be looking for me and she'd spot me under the table and oh my God. I thought I always tell people the first 8 years of my life, I thought my name was OhnoRobbie. Oh no, Robbie. Oh no. Oh no, Robbie. Oh no.
You know what I wanted my mother to buy so terribly because of the packaging? Once again, those Dolly Madison fruit pies.
Oh, I love those.
Patty.
The frosted ones?
And then there was, I don't know because I never got one.
Oh, you know what? That's cruel. They had this layer of sugar frosting on it that was so good. Like I can still taste it. Can you still buy those?
I think you can. But I remember, Sally would be on the blueberry one, and Linus was on the key lime pie, and there was a chocolate filling one with the girl with the curly hair, or whatever, the girl with the redhead girl. There was different characters, and then big bubble letters. It would say strawberry fruit pie.
Oh, I love those.
Dolly Madison.
Well, remember,
so you actually got those? You're so lucky.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I wore my mom out, so she finally realized that if I didn't eat, I ate SpaghettiOs, I ate Lipton chicken noodle soup with those little tiny noodles, and I ate candy and sugar. Otherwise I wouldn't really eat, Or if she took me to Burger King, I'd eat like a burger and stuff. But yeah, I was like sugar, sugar, sugar. And those, remember the Charlie Brown cartoons, right? The specials, they were always sponsored by Dolly Madison.
Is that right?
Yeah. It was like, the Christmas special sponsored by Dolly Madison.
So did your mother buy the red? Well, of course it's red. Did your mother buy Hawaiian Punch?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because that was another little character that looked very similar to the Captain Crunch people.
And was he also drawn by that guy? By the Rocky
I don't know,
Bullwinkle
but remember
guy?
that little... What did that little guy look like on the Hawaiian Punch?
He was... what was he? Yeah, I don't know.
He had like red little dreadlocks, and I gotta look him up.
I don't know what... He was like a grimace, like nobody knows what he is.
No one knows what he is. I liked him so much, and I liked the packaging. I liked the red and the blue and the white, because it was kind of looked like a bomb pop. And any kid who had that in their lunch, I was so jealous.
Oh, yeah, my mom would buy that. She wouldn't buy the Hawaiian Punch too often. More often we had Kool-Aid. Oh yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, and my favorite, Strawberry Quik.
You're so lucky. Don't tell me you got that too.
Strawberry Quik. I could put away a gallon of milk with that stuff in it.
We got Ovaltine.
Ovaltine.
And that was the closest thing. That was in my house. The fact that she bought anything chocolate like that was really great.
Yeah, but that's like the cereal you were describing, right? Like
again with the brown,
the
the
PBS
orange.
box. Yeah. Ovaltine is like PBS chocolate milk.
Wait, so you got Strawberry Quik, and there was a bunny with a big Q around his neck, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. And
what did he look like?
Well, he changed over the years a little bit, but the thing I remember the most about being a kid with Strawberry Quik is the metal box. It was like a cocoa box, right? So you'd have to have a spoon to wedge under the little circular top thing and pop it out, And
was there a bunch of melted stuff around it?
In mine, yeah, because I would, of course, take the spoon and scoop, 15 scoops in my milk, oh no, Robbie, that's too much Strawberry Quik. And then a half a cup of milk. And then I would eat some Strawberry Quik right out of the can.
Of course you did.
I can't believe I don't have diabetes.
Miss. I tried to eat that Swiss Miss. Of course, it wasn't at my house. It was at my friend Erin's house. But of course, we would try to eat anything that was like that.
So what did your mom ever make TV dinners?
She did. And something that always mystifies me about the chicken in TV dinners is that what cuts were those? I remember kind of pulling one apart and it was just all fat and breading and there wasn't any meat one time. And then the other time, I don't know that it's meat sometimes. It was so greasy. But one thing that was delicious, the mashed potatoes.
Yes.
The outside would get a little crispy. My sister and I, one time, this is awful, but I was the older sister, put my finger right through her mashed potatoes and just took a scoop for myself. We only came to blows twice in our life, and one of the times was because of the mashed potatoes and the TV dinner.
You know what? You had that coming because
I did.
You stick your finger in my Salisbury steak mashed potatoes, and we're gonna throw down because that's there was like a little butter pat in the middle too, right? That little butter pat would melt right in the middle, and the little brownie they gave you was good too.
Is there anything hotter on God's green earth than that brownie?
No, because the
center of it.
The inside was like molten lava.
So hot. I think I still have burns from that brownie. I'm not kidding. There was nothing hotter than that brownie.
That's so true. That's so true. And the outside would like burn and cook, but the inside was like this lava, this chocolate lava.
The only thing hotter was when, because I had no patience, I'd get my Easy Bake Oven, make the little cake, and immediately try to consume it straight out of the oven. When it said let it cool, I was like, let it cool?
Yeah. No.
I don't let things cool. But nothing was hotter than that brownie.
I had an Easy Bake Oven for I think 6 months before my parents spirited it away in the middle of the night because I burned myself on that mother foe.
Why?
Because I'm an idiot. Because I would stick my hand in there, and it was like a 9,000 watt bulb that did the baking, right? And those brownies were the same way, except the inside was cold and the outside would get hot. But I don't know. I would every 2 minutes, I was like, and
we didn't have any patience. We had no patience.
Oh no, Robbie, you burned yourself again. And then one day it just wasn't there anymore. And I was like, where's the Easy Bake Oven? And my mother's like, it broke.
I've done that before.
Like, it broke? What do you mean it broke? It broke.
Yeah, so that brownie, Yeah, I think that giving us food to make was just a bad idea because us trying to make cakes just wasn't going to work. I do think it was adorable that Tupperware made these little teeny little things for kids because I would do some mud pies
Oh, yeah.
in my little baby Tupperware. That
Right.
was cute.
Yeah, like conditioning us early to, be brand loyal, right?
Brand loyal.
Yeah.
But those colors, you know what? I rejected the brown. We had the brown Tupperware pitcher. We always had the canned OJ with a big old plop. You fill it up with
Oh,
water.
yeah, yeah.
Minute Maid.
Yeah, but it never mixed all the way. There was
Awful.
always
And then,
that floating glob.
oh, geez. And so we had that brown pitcher. Then we had some orange little press canisters for the pasta. Food. We did not have any of the avocado green. We mostly had orange and brown. I could never be loyal to the brand that doesn't have the good colors.
Right, like neon, Dayglow,
Or anything,
primary
any
colors.
kind of cereal box.
Yeah.
Candy colors.
Yeah.
But I have one more question, Rob, about candy. Back in the day, in my mind, if somebody said, here, you get to choose your color lollipop or popsicle.
Right.
In my mind, red was always first. If there was no red, I would do pink because that was either watermelon or bubblegum or strawberry. If there was no red or pink, I would choose purple.
Mm-hmm.
If there was no purple, I would go to blue. And then after that, I would go to green. Last one, orange and yellow. What about you?
100% the same.
Oh,
Exactly
really?
the
Okay,
same.
yeah,
I think that's universal.
Sometimes people tell me I love yellow.
Stop it.
No,
No one ever told you that.
some kids at the
That's a
middle
lie.
school when I was doing the book fair, they were picking yellow. And I said, who the hell picks
No one
yellow? And
picks
also,
the yellow one.
kids now pick yellow. And not only that, but Halloween candy these days, the kids don't like the Reese's peanut butter cups. They're giving them, those are parents like
Get
those.
out. What are they eating? What are these little...
They like, these kids were eating, like the real sour, Airheads and
Oh, like
sour
Skittles
things.
and stuff like that?
Skittles and Starburst are now the things, but they were giving away the Reese's peanut butter cups. And I asked a couple kids at the book fair, you guys don't like peanut butter cups? They're like, ew, my mom likes those.
That is foolishness. That is 100% foolishness. When
So-
when I was a young kid and I went Halloween trick-or-treating, which was like my favorite day of the year, still is. I mean, that was like gold. Like somebody gave you a full-size Reese's peanut butter cup. I mean, that you could trade a lot of stuff for that. Like you could trade one peanut butter cup for like 2 of those chunkies,
But Rob, what were those
Because of the
candies that
raisins.
had no writing on them? The candy that was in either a black or an orange wax paper twisted on both ends and kind of a nougat peanut butter flavor. There was no name on it.
Oh yeah, I hated
What were
those.
those?
I hated those because I couldn't identify what it was. Was it peanut
Right.
butter? Was it malted? Was it like a honey nougat thing? I didn't understand those candies.
I remember thinking, how dare they not put some graphic art on this? I'm done.
How dare they not tell me what flavor this is?
I'm done. You can't put a name on this or give me some bubble letters.
Yeah.
I'm out.
No, that's
out.
nonsense. That's nonsense. Oh my God, AIM,
What?
we're out of time. We are out of time. But so I'm wondering though, should we make this a 2-parter and like the next one we'll just keep going? Because like I mean there's a hell of a lot more ground here that we have not covered.
Let's do it.
All right. Okay. So we want to thank everybody for listening to the Glitter Boom Girls show. I'm Robbie-Ann McPherson in Buffalo. Say your name, girl.
And I'm Amy Asbury in Los Angeles.
And we thank you very much for sharing this time with us. So join us next time. We're going to continue this conversation, part 2. See you guys around.
Bye, guys.